And now we bring you today's Corruption Matrix, taking you inside the world of corruption, abuse of power, and shocking betrayals of public trust.
Wayne Township, New Jersey, the thought of a nice, cushy retirement just wasn't enough for Wayne's school superintendent, Terry Thompson. He wanted more, and more. Thompson already has a lucrative retirement deal to the tune of more than $1 million. And it doesn't stop there. He created a phony superintendent emeritus position that's paying him $1,352 a day. Toss in the $15,000 stipend for retirement planning. Hey, Soup, you better hope your cellmate isn't as generous as the board. Gulfport, Mississippi, a building contractor has been slammed by a wave of charges for bilking Gulf Coast residents of over $1.3 million by home repair fraud after Hurricane Katrina. Douglas Devaney used false real estate contracts to lure investors and then collect money for the construction and repair jobs that he never did. Hey, Devaney, hang up your tool belt. You won't have anything to hammer or screw for the next 84 months in prison. Atlanta, Georgia, maybe just a typical Michael Vick weekend. Bling, Victoria's Secret lingerie, and a dachshund. What? A group of identity thieves siphoned money from unsuspecting victims, earning them more than $500,000. Then the clever crew took their scratch on a dream shopping spree with stops at Victoria's Secret, the Apple Store, Nordstrom, and a pet shop where they dropped a cool $1,500 on a dachshund. And that's today's Corruption Matrix.
John Krombach, a retired former police chief, will earn more as a city retiree than he ever made as Oxnard, California's police chief, and he's now going to earn a six-figure salary as an assistant sheriff. That combo platter will give him an annual salary of $396,955. I guess there's nothing wrong with our pension system. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. Leslie, also from the great state of California, aren't you, as well as our doctor on the panel? But go ahead. This is ridiculous. $400,000 for a retired cop?
You know what kills me, Eric? You would have no problem with somebody in the private sector having a couple of jobs.
Right.
This bothers you because it's the public
100%
sector.
right, Leslie.
But you guys always say, we want less government. So now you want the government to say, hey, you can't have a second job in the public sector if you're getting a pension from the public sector already.
Here's the issue, Leslie, and I'm going to do this. I don't know why I have to do this with you liberals every single time. The difference is in the private sector, they earn. They sell stuff, they make money. In the public sector, they earn because we pay our taxes. They're getting double, triple, quadruple dipping on our dime.
Yeah, but the military is part of the public sector. Eric, you have a problem with that? Somebody, going for years in the Navy, for example, they're a retiree. If you live in California, Eric, it costs over $1 million for a small 3-bedroom house, and if you're putting a couple of kids through college and can't get into the California education system, you're paying $100,000 a year. And what if your spouse lost their job? Okay. What's wrong with maximizing your income?
Compare our brave young men and women overseas getting shot at, getting mortar fire, getting the grenades coming at them, to a teacher who may put 15 years in and then retire and get 40 years worth of benefits.
This is a contract. This is a contract that was agreed to and has to be fulfilled.
Leslie,
if you want future contracts to change, that's a different story.
Those contracts are bankrupting your state, California, and the rest of the nation.
No.
Dr. Keith, tell us we need some reform.
Of course we need reform,
I don't
because
agree.
you can't sustain gimmies. You can't, as much as you might like to be nice to people, it doesn't include lavishing them with taxpayer dollars. And if these states go bankrupt, then they should default on all of these various contracts, quote unquote.
Doesn't it dawn on you? You're both from Cali. You were the 8th largest economy in the world. You could have been part of the G8, knocking one of the European countries out. You're now issuing IOUs. That's how the state is going to be paying off its
That's not a result of the pension
IOUs.
system.
You're like a third world country.
Why not?
That's because of a long recession. It is not because of the pension system or the debt.
Right.
These things are not unusual. What is unusual is that our tax revenues are down. And I would disagree with Leslie. I respect her point. I actually do think we need to reform this double-dipping system because I think that when you go into public service, it is doing a noble deed, unlike the private sector, where you're going to make a lot more money, and that we shouldn't be rewarding such a major...
Leslie, you can double dip, you can triple dip. I think your current governor of California was governor, then he retired for a while, and then I think he was mayor of Oakland, so he's earning a pension on the governor job, was taking a salary on Oakland. This is nuts. You guys are crazy on the West Coast.
Well, I won't disagree. We're a bit crazy on the West Coast, Eric. But, you know, again, these are contracts. In the future, the contracts, I don't have a problem with the contracts being changed. But I do have a problem saying, hey, let's write a contract and we agree to it. And when the economy goes south in a state, and by the way, it's gone south in all of our states and throughout the world, by the way, Curtis, you don't just say, rip up the contract because it's only worth the paper it's written on.
$25+ billion in the whole thing.
Look, who's issuing IOUs, right? Even third world countries are not issuing IOUs. California is in the tank, and it has no excuse. The richest, most prosperous state in America is in the tank because of double, triple, quadruple dealing.
That is not
You
true.
forgot to mention Moonbeam Jerry Brown's pension as Attorney General also.
And
Mayor
that's-
of Oakland, former governor, and
That's
now
buying
governor again.
votes. It's no different than buying votes. It's corruption on a massive scale. It's saying to people, I will buy your votes. I delivered you the 99 weeks of unemployment. I delivered you this massive pension. Now elect me again.
One last word, Leslie. What about it? You're going to defend the great state of California?
You want it, not just the great state of California. I got to tell you something. If you talk about buying votes, buying an election, talk to the Supreme Court with a decision that allows corporations to do just that.
Why
Not
shouldn't the
just say
corporations
who
be
they
able
are.
to invest in
We'll leave
candidates?
different
That's
segment,
silly.
and we'll hit that
They
one
can use
another
their
time.
money any way they want.
We're going to leave it there. We're going to say thank you to Leslie Marshall. We're going to wrap things up
Thanks,
with some
Eric.
very interesting comments you've been making in all the ways that you read.